It is going to be a weekly recap from the 20th to the 24th, and yeah, it's just continuing the red week situation. It's just that a lot of the setups that I'm taking are just not working out. A few of them do work out, but I've been consistently having little baby tiny red days for the most part, and that's been pretty painful. Sure, I'm not trading with much, but in theory, all of the setups that I've been trading are things that I could be trading with a lot of money, and it just seems really I don't know what to say. Just really beat up from all of these red trades. But I'm gonna keep going because I'm crazy and yeah, I'll just keep trying. That's all I can do. Let's go over the trades and maybe I can find something that I can try to do better. Six of them. One of them was a green trade. Although this setup right here, the short setup actually did work out. I just you'll find out. It was not a very lucky month so far, and at least I did trade the majority of my trades. Well, just one trade I thought I traded okay. The rest I thought were really good. So at least that's a good thing. But I'd rather see profits. Let's start and go over the first trade, which is NYCB on the 20th. And the 20th is gonna be right here. So first green day, and it's gonna be right here. Let's go ahead and highlight it. I was in at 949 at 883, and this was a resistance breakout towards higher day. So 949 is gonna be right here, 949 at 883. So I got in right here, and the idea was is that it probably was this level, this 875 level, and when it broke past it, and then on top of that, it was breaking above this upper range around 878. I got in at 883, thinking that it could try to, after having a sell off for screen day and everything, bounce and try to make a move towards the upside, which as you can see, it did do, but look at how ugly it's been trading right there with those wicks. I did get out. Actually, the same minute at 881, and that was, yeah, 881. So let's take a look at the notes. It seems like it did work out, but again, I got in and out very quickly because I thought the breakout was going to be stronger. So essentially, when I thought it broke out of this range, it was going to be like a nice big green candle, a short squeeze, maybe even a halt towards the upside. And because it kind of went as high as it did at 885, and then it started to sell off, I guess, before the candle closed, I did get out of the trade for that reason. But at least it did work out over a longer period of time. And maybe if I had like the trend line, I could have held on to this trade with that in mind. Maybe something off of this. And then, yeah, maybe a sell when it opened right here under the uptrending trend line at 9. Let's just see what a sell at 9 would have been, because that could have been actually possible. Not too much in terms of percent gain, but it would have been a profitable trade. It ended up being a small scratch instead. So I'm glad this setup did work out right here. The only other setup that worked besides this short setup before I went through the rest of the week, which was just pain. But yeah, at least that one did work out in theory. Let's look at QNCX. Now, I didn't check what day it was. This was on the 21st, so right here, first green day, very similar to the other one. 21st is going to be here. This one did not really do that much looking at the chart. I got in at 949 at 148, and this was a multi-day and intraday breakout. So let's go ahead and zoom in some more just to make sure. Yeah, 949. Okay, so 949 was right here at 148. I got in right here, and why? Well, it had a run up, and as you can see, the top is 147. So at this point, it broke above that 147 level, and it was also breaking this level of 150, and I did get in it right here at 148, so maybe a good entry. And I was thinking it could be like this breakout where it breaks the intraday high, the previous run up high, and it can try to be something that runs very nicely. I did get out the next minute, roughly the same price at 149. And yeah, probably same with the other setup. It just didn't really uptrend all that much. I don't like how there was a whole bunch of volume. As you can see here, it got as high as 153 and it started to sell off. It just didn't continue in this one. just consolidated a bit. It did try here, but it did end up selling off for the most part. Although I guess it's still hanging in there, just not very fun to trade, very choppy, not necessarily something that offers volatility. Let's look at QNCX on the 21st. So that is the same day. Yep, same day I believe. Yep. All right, so I had another trade. This was a VWAP dip buy at 1034. I got in at 144. So I guess I'm gonna have to zoom back in. Again, that was at 1034. 1034 was right here, and I got in at I believe 144. And the idea is that I guess with this trade, it had a drop towards VWAP. It was holding it, and then I got in when it was looking like it was going to break above the range, ideally above 144, and then continue to head higher. As you can see, it did get to 145, but that was it. This thing just sold off. I got out at 1039 at 142.6. So 1039 was right here at 142.6. So I probably got out when it was looking like it was going to break under this range. And after it tried to break above it, and then it comes back down, and then it looks like it's going to break under it, I did get out. And that was another scratch trade. This one just didn't work out for that reason. Let's look at ENTB, which is super toxic on the 22nd. If I can type it. Alright, so it's ETMB. Wow. Is that really the case? Did I really type all of these wrong? I think I have the wrong stock. Maybe I actually did have it right. ENTB. Nope. Alright, I'll take a look and make sure if I have like the wrong ticker or something like that, and I'll be back. Alright, I am back. I do have the right ticker, ETMB, but it looks like it just doesn't want to load. Oh, okay, it does. It loads now. Okay, let's just pretend I wasn't trying to figure that out because it just, there was never an issue to begin with. Let's look at ENTB on the 22nd, and that's going to be this one right here. And the idea is that did I have this chart right? Yeah, I guess I did. It just made me think it was something else because I remembered it having a big green day, but I guess it wasn't really all that nice to begin with. I mean, it's not horrible, but. Okay, yeah, I guess I just got confused right there. I guess it is the middle of the night anyway. I did have a trade, and that was again on the 22nd. So let me highlight the 22nd, which is going to be right here. Part of that. So first green day, I was in at 10:04 at 15:33, and this was a VWAP hold range breakout. So let's look at 10:04 at 15:33. 10:04 was way back here. 10:04 at 15:33. So I got in it right here because it did have a downtrend here, then an uptrend, and then for the most part, it was looking like it was going to hold above VWAP, and then on top of that, I got in because it looks like it was going to break above this range, which is ideally this 1540 level, and it could break past it and then make a move much higher and be a nice squeeze and continue the uptrend. You can see there's a head and shoulders here, shoulder, head, shoulder, and then when it had like a little, dip and it didn't really just sell off and it held it, and then it looked like it was going to turn around. I did get in for that reason at 10:04. This one immediately filled at 10:06. I got out at 15:04, which is a bit painful right here at 15:04 when it was looking like it was going to break below this range, which was roughly this $15 price point, after looking like it was going to maybe break above the range, and then it fails, and then it looks like it's going to break under the range right here, the support level. I got out of the trade for that reason, and that one just didn't work out. And then the second trade was on the same day, and this was at 10:06. So I guess the idea is that when it looked like it didn't, break this range after, I cut the trade, I did get in it for that reason, and that was at 15:03. So 10:06, 15:03 is when I got in, and I think at this point I was probably going to risk maybe the low of this candle, which is 14.96, and then ideally it can try to turn around. I actually oh wow. Okay, completely scratched that. Um, Actually, no, this was a short setup. Okay, yeah, this is like the first short setup in months. And I guess you can see how, in my mind, I saw not just the long setup, which is what I didn't take, but what I ended up taking, which was a short trade. Let me go over why I shorted this, although, that was also a good reason why I could have went long because, I thought it was going to break below the range. And then when it doesn't, I actually, take the trade right here because then this could be like a new level. Although you can see there's a stupid toxic wick right there. So maybe, I either don't have like a good risk level or I should make it more broad, which isn't really too nice, but I guess 1480 would have been it. It broke it eventually, but maybe that would have helped me hold and then maybe sell at a better price and have a scratch trade, I guess. I shorted here at 10:06 because it had a first candle open under VWAP, and I thought that was very bearish. You can see it had like plenty of wicks ever since it, regained itself under VWAP, but it just never really opened under the line except for here, and then it quickly regained itself. So when it had its first candle open under the VWAP line, which means that it opened under where most of the people are long in theory, that was pretty bearish. And then I had two risk levels. Now that I can remember the trade, I was having a level where if it opens above 1540, I was going to cut the trade, or if it has like a stupid wick as high as 1562, I was going to sell it even if it doesn't like, close, above that level. If it just gets to that point, I'll be cutting it. Or, if it gets above 1540 and, it just sells back down, okay, that's fine. But if it actually closes above 1540, because that was like the top of this head and shoulders, I was going to consider cutting the trade for that reason. And I held on to this trade for a while. I got out at 1028 at 1538, which was right here. This stock was super stupidly stubborn, trying to hold $15. It had a wick here and it regained itself. And as you can see, I got the 1550 here, but I didn't cut the trade here because it did not, close above that risk level, and it didn't wick towards 1562. And I did cut it right here because it actually did open by 2 pennies, at 1541. So, it opened not at 1540 but 1541, and I cut the trade. And what do you freaking know? Sells off beautifully. All that toxic dip buying, I guess, got wiped out here, and it just sold off, and it never bounced until it got as low as 1381. So let's just see what that would have been, because that was actually possible. And yeah, that's unfortunate because it worked out nicely, but it's only 8%. But I guess it kind of makes it up because it's a higher priced stock. Yeah, actually would have really helped with this month, but that's just the kind of luck I've been having. I cut it right here before it just sells off, and it's been like that for a while, but at least I gave it a try. Let's look at the last trade, which was on the 24th, right here. It did stubbornly hold above 15 and continue to squeeze more, but I was no longer really short or interested in shorting it. 24th is going to be right here. Super nice option the 23rd, but I'm not really good with setups that work over a longer period of time. I got in at 949. I feel like I've had a lot of trades at 949. Maybe I shouldn't trade at 949. Well, I guess this one. No. I don't know. That's just funny. A lot of trades at 949. I was in at 949 at 1680. And this was a morning trend line break reversal long. So let's look at 949 again at 1680. 949 was right here. 1680. Why did I get in this? Well, not horrible above this range right here, uptrending, and then, being stubborn. And I did decide to take a long setup, and it was selling off. And I'm gonna guess maybe it had a trend line like this. And what happened was is that I guess it was a bit lower, but it broke past this line, and I got out of I didn't get out of it, but I got in the trade. I really don't know how exactly I had it, but in theory it had like a downtrending trend line and it broke it right here at 949. I was considering the idea that it was going to turn around. And it was also nice because of the fact that the previous close was at 1694. So when it had like a dip, it was trading around this 17 level. And it looked like maybe it could be just a brief moment where it goes red slightly on a day and then it regains itself. But as you can see, it didn't work out. It kept selling off. I did get out at 952 at 1676. So right here, of course, because it broke the range right here, and I got out at 1676. And yeah, it continued to sell off, and it never really offered a nice bounce. I mean, it tried to make like a inverse head and shoulders, but yeah, very bleak. It just continued to sell off, and that was the case for that day. And for this week, that's it. Very confusing weekly recap, but not many trades to go over. Um, I don't know. I guess I'll just keep in mind 949 to see if I just happen to find a setup at that time period again. I find that weird, but at least I was on the right track with that short selling setup, and that would have made my week very profitable, or at least it would have been just slightly up. And yeah, I was on the right track with this one. It just didn't work out immediately the way I wanted it to. That's it for this weekly recap.